Dear students, good evening and a warm welcome to CSAT Made Easy 2025 series, where we discuss the most exam specific questions and concepts from the angle of the CSAT paper of 25 year. I am Sachin Gopanal, and today's topic of discussion would be RC, Reading Comprehension. And as I have told you in many of the classes before, RC passages, it is one of the most important topic in the CSAT paper. I would say it is actually the most important topic in the CSAT paper. Okay, if it is so important, we shall find a way to answer these questions with the minimum margin of error. Okay, this is my tips or steps to answer reading comprehension or passage questions. Let's read it. I have explained the process of answering any passage problem in 2 steps. Let's read the first one. Read the passage carefully and underline key terms in every sentence. Okay, when you are reading a passage, after reading every sentence, do underline one or more key term in that sentence. Why? It is explained here. This helps you in many ways. The first is to make sense of what the author is trying to convey. When you read a sentence, if you underline the key term, it will make a sense to you about what is the most important thing in that sentence. What is the author trying to say through that sentence? Okay, and that will help you to answer the question. And then to identify the most important idea in that sentence. When you underline the most important key term, you will get what is the crux of that sentence. Okay, to avoid having to read the entire passage over and over after reading the question and the options. Okay, if you did not underline the keywords, you read the passage and you went to answer the question. After reading the question and the options, you will be confused between 2 or 3 options, and then you will want to read the passage again. Then you will have to go through the passage entirely. However, if you had underlined key terms, you will know which sentences to focus on. So it will avoid you reading the whole passage. You can only just read that sentence which you want to read, and then your time will be saved to a very large extent. Okay, and finally, to break up the entire passage into little packets of ideas. This is a very important thing. When you take the passage as an entire whole thing, when you take it as a whole thing, you will not be able to analyze each idea independently. However, when you underline the key terms, you will be able to break up the bulk of an idea into little chunks of thoughts, and that will give you more clarity. Okay, what do I mean by this point? You will understand when we starting the questions. And this is the first step. And what is the second step? It is like this. Option elimination is arguably the best method for solving RC questions. According to me, option elimination is the best method. Why? Because when you're solving other questions of your reasoning or quantitative aptitude, the math questions, you will have one correct answer. However, in passages, it is not always one correct answer. Sometimes there will be more than one correct answer. So you will have to think in terms of more appropriate one and less appropriate one, and leave the less appropriate one. Okay, sometimes you will be confused between 2 options, and actually according to common sense or according to rational thinking, both of them will be correct actually. However, we need to choose the more appropriate one as our option, and then leave the less appropriate one. And so option elimination, eliminating the less appropriate ones, that is the best method to solve your passage questions, especially in CSAT. I would not apply the same for all the other examinations. Especially in CSAT, option elimination is best method to solve RC questions. Okay, let's read how to eliminate them. The elimination, it is also explained in 4 steps here. Eliminate the illogical, irrational and extreme options first. Some of the options, at least usually at least one of the options, it will be either illogical or irrational, or it will be too extreme. It will be extreme beyond reasonable measures. So we will eliminate those options first. I will tell you why we need to eliminate these ones first. In the passages asked in the CSAT paper, they are most usually taken from articles published in newspapers or journals some years ago, and they will be written. Those will be renowned newspapers written by the masters in that particular field. The authors of that article, they would have been well versed or specialized in that field. So whatever they would have written, they would not have written illogical, irrational or extreme options. They would have been very rational and sensible in their writing, in their thinking also. So they could not have made any illogical, irrational or extreme arguments in their passage. So we will eliminate those options first, and then eliminate the options that are not in agreement with the passage. This is an easy one. The passage will be saying one thing, and one of the options, it might be saying the opposite of that thing, or they will not be, even though they are not opposite, they will not be agreeing on they will not be on the same terms. So we will eliminate those options which are not agreeing with the passage, and then eliminate the less appropriate options. This is the difficult one. In the 4 options that are given to you, usually there will be confusion between 2 options. Most of the times, both of them will be actually agreeing with the passage, and one of them will be more appropriate according to the question, and one of them will be less appropriate according to the question, and we will eliminate the less appropriate one, and the option to remain in the last will be your answer. So when solving RC questions, do not think in terms of right and wrong, think in terms of more appropriate and less appropriate, and the most appropriate option will be your answer. And ultimately, I have one more thing to say to you. Make it a habit to read opinion pieces in newspapers and or journals, because UPSC takes its passages in the RC questions from opinion pieces in renowned newspapers and journals published some years ago, and I think we will solve 3 passages or so in this. No, I think we will solve only 2, and one of them would be your homework. I will leave the link. I will leave the internet website link to each of those passages, so that you can understand how the passage, what part of the passage they have taken and what question they have framed. Do click on those links I will leave the links in the comment section. Do click on those links, read those passages. You will see that UPSC, sometimes they have not taken the entire passage, or whatever passage they have taken, they would not have taken it in the sequential manner, not exactly sequential. They would have taken it in a sequential manner, not consistently. For example, if the entire article, it is in 5 paragraphs, they might have chosen 2 sentences in first paragraph, 2 sentences in third paragraph, and 1 sentence in the last paragraph. They could have done that. Yes, they do that. That is why you do observe that. And look at the question that is being framed, and look at the options that they have given you. It will give you an idea of how they are framing the questions, and that will give you an idea of how to choose the more appropriate and less appropriate options. Okay, I think whatever I said, after watching the video and after clicking on those links, you will understand it better. Let's go to question solving now. This is the passage. Let's read it first. This was asked in the 2023 paper. Okay, more than half of Indian women and almost a quarter of Indian men of working age suffer from anemia. Okay, I read one sentence and I will underline one or more keywords. I will underline only one keyword here: anemia. What is anemia? It is a blood disorder where there is red blood cells or hemoglobin less than the usual or less than what is considered a desirable amount. However, when I underlined anemia and when I read the underlined word, I will not recall the definition of anemia. After reading the passage, if I look at that word anemia, what will I recall? I will recall that half of Indian women of working age and a quarter of Indian men of working age, they suffer from anemia. Okay. For me to solve this question, this word will denote that whole concept. Okay. So I have condensed that sentence into this one word and made a mental note of it. Okay. Let's next. According to studies, they are anywhere from 5 to 15% less productive than they could be as a result thereof. Okay. What is this sentence telling us? It is telling us that because of anemia, they are 5 to 15% less productive than what they could have been. So what will I underline here? Here I will underline less productive. Okay. It is not necessary that you underline the same keyword that I do. You can underline your own keywords. However, as I told you, it should be such a word for you that it will condense the whole idea of that sentence in that one term, or you might underline two terms. Okay. If the sentence is too long, take 3 to 4 terms, no problem. Okay. India also has the largest tuberculosis burden in the world, costing 170 million work days to the country annually. Okay. Tuberculosis. When I look at tuberculosis, I will not remember what tuberculosis, I will remember what? I will underline that India has the largest tuberculosis burden and it is costing how much to India? It is costing 170 million work days to India. That whole concept, it is condensed in the one word, tuberculosis, and that is what I will recall when I read the after reading the passage. If I look at this underlined word, that is what I will recall. Okay. But what is just as important as productivity now is lost potential in the future. Okay. Here they are telling us that one, we have lost productivity because of anemia and tuberculosis. Also we have lost future potential also. So I will underline lost potential. Okay. It is becoming increasingly clear that on many measures of cognitive ability, malnourished Indian children perform 2 or 3 times worse than their adequately nourished peers. Okay. They are telling us that malnourished children in India, they are doing 2 to 3 times worse than the well nourished ones. So I will underline malnourished children. Okay. India is in between. Okay. It is malnourished children. Okay. For an economy that will be more dependent on highly skilled workers, this poses a significant challenge. So India in the future, we will want more skilled workers. However, this phenomenon, that is malnourishment, anemia and tuberculosis, they will pose a significant challenge to us. Okay. And it is one that should really be addressed given India's demographic outlook. We know that India is one of the youngest and it has a very good demographic outlook right now. So it is one that really should be addressed. So I will underline, it should be given India's demographic outlook. It is very important that we address this issue. Okay. Anemia, less productive, tuberculosis, lost potential, malnourished children, significant challenge should be addressed. Okay. Now I have made a mental note of the ideas. There are maybe 6 to 7 ideas in this passage. I have made a mental note of this, and when I read this passage, we read this underlined word, I will recollect them. Okay. Let's read the questions and the options now. Which one of the following best reflects what is implied by the passage? Okay. This is implication. What is implication? Implication is something that the author is suggesting. Implication is something that the author is suggesting. Okay. What is the author suggesting here? One more thing about passages is why I told you to read opinion pieces in journals and newspapers is try to understand the tone of the passage, in what context and in what tone the author has written in that passage. It cannot be explained easily, but by reading habit you will understand it eventually, and it is not a big science, you will understand it easily. Just make it a habit to read opinion pieces in newspapers and journals. Just reading the Hindu is enough. I read only the Hindu. I do not read any newspaper or journal. Just reading the Hindu, it has given me a good insight into understanding the context of the passages. Okay. Which one of the following statements reflects what is implied by the passage? Let's look at the options. Education system must be strengthened in rural areas. Okay, maybe. This one is maybe. Large scale and effective implementation of skill development program is the need of the hour. Maybe. For economic development, health and nutrition of only skilled workers need special attention. No. Why? Because for economic development, health and nutrition of only skilled workers needs special attention. Only skilled workers? Only? No. Because here they are talking about men and women of working age, and they are also talking about children. This says only skilled workers. So this is an illogical or even an extreme case to concentrate only on skilled workers. As I told you, the passages, they will be taken from a newspaper article which will be written by a renowned person, and no renowned person would make such a illogical, irrational statement. So option C, we will reject it. Option D, for rapid economic growth as envisaged by us, attention should be paid to health and nutrition of the people. Maybe. So now we are left with 3 options, and we will eliminate again 2 of them. Education system must be strengthened in rural areas. No. Because what are they talking about? They are talking about anemia, tuberculosis, less productivity, lost potential, malnourishment in children, challenge, and need to address this issue. They are not talking about rural areas, and they are talking about even when they are talking about children, they are talking about the performance of children, but not about education system. They are talking about performance of children having been affected by malnourishment, but not due to education system. So we will reject option A. Okay, let's read option B. Large scale and effective implementation of skill development program is the need of the hour. Okay, once again, what is the passage talking about? It is talking about health and nutrition problem, and because of health and nutrition problem, how it is affecting our productivity and potential in the future. But what is this talking about? This is talking about skill development. In this passage, there is no mention that there is a lack of skill. There is what this passage is telling us, that there is a need to address the health and malnutrition problem. However, this passage, it is not talking about development of skill. So we will reject option B also. What is option D? For rapid economic growth as envisaged by us, attention should be paid to health and nutrition of people. Yes, this is a logical implication of this passage, because that this is what the entire passage is actually addressing or implying. How they are telling us that by the author is telling us these are the problems, right? So he is actually implying that by addressing these problems, we Indians can increase our productivity and achieve and fulfill our potential. So for rapid economic growth as envisaged by us, attention should be paid to health and nutrition. This is actually what the author is actually implying. And how did we arrive at this? By eliminating the less appropriate ones. Correct? Option A and C, they were option A and B, they were not illogical, but they were less appropriate. They were actually rational. Education system must be strengthened in rural areas. Yes. Large scale skill development is the need of the hour. Yes. However, they are less appropriate when we are talking about this passage. So this one is the only appropriate option we had when we looked at this passage, so we mark that one as our answer. Okay, I think now you got a good idea of what I meant in this slide. Read the passage, underline key terms, then option elimination is the best method. Okay, now let's go to the next question. Okay, read this one. India is perhaps the only large democracy that has not provided direct cash assistance of a significant amount during the COVID-19 crisis. Okay, what will I underline here? I think I will underline two terms: direct cash assistance and COVID-19. Okay, and when I read these two underlined terms, what will I recall? I will recall that the author has said that India is the largest democracy which has not made a good direct cash assistance in the context of COVID-19 crisis. Okay, next, it is prudent to provide a significant sum as direct cash assistance to the poor, which can inject confidence in them to weather this COVID-19 storm. Okay, it is prudent to provide significant sum as direct cash assistance to the poor, which can inject confidence in them to weather the COVID-19 storm. So I will underline. Okay, I think I will take this off here. I will underline direct cash assistance here. Okay, let's go to the next one. There is also a dire need to restore confidence in the financial system, which acts as the vital lubricant for the economy. So they are talking about restoring confidence in the financial system. Okay, confidence in the financial system. Okay, restore confidence in the financial system. Okay, then COVID-19 assistance measures undertaken by the RBI and the government, such as interest rate reductions, credit guarantee and liquidity enhancement schemes, are welcome steps. Okay, what are the steps taken? Interest rate reductions, credit guarantee and liquidity enhancement. So we have taken some welcome steps. These three I will condense it in the form of in the term welcome steps. If there is confidence among people to spend and among bankers to lend, if there is confidence among people to spend and among bankers to lend, then private sector will spontaneously derive the confidence to reopen and reinvest. Okay, here they are talking about confidence among who? Among people, among bankers and also among private sector. Okay, in this one sentence I underlined 4 terms. Okay, COVID-19 direct cash assistance, restore confidence in financial system. We have taken some welcome steps, and we need to boost confidence into people. If there is a confidence among people and bankers, then private sector, it will also gain confidence. Okay, let's look at the questions now. Which one of the following statements best reflects what is implied by the passage? Okay, COVID-19 caused economic stress. Okay, maybe. However, I don't think that this is what the passage is implying. The passage is written in the context of COVID-19, but it is not implying that one. Okay, still we will keep it. We will not reject it. But let's look at the second option. Providing direct cash assistance will make people spend, which will in turn lead to reopening of and reinvesting in private sector. Okay, I think this is agreeing very much with the passage. Okay, let's keep that one also. Look at option C. It is imperative to rebuild confidence among various sectors to revive the country's economy. This is also very true, because in the last sentence, that is what they are telling us. Okay, look at option D. Direct cash assistance, interest rate reductions, credit guarantee and liquidity enhancement schemes are the best steps to revive the economy. Okay, I will start with eliminating this one. Why? Okay, direct cash assistance, yes. Interest rate reductions, yes. Credit guarantee, yes. Liquidity enhancement schemes, yes. They are all agreeing with the passage. However, they are the best steps to revive the economy. Are they the best steps? No, they are the welcome steps. This passage says that they are good steps, they are welcome, but are they the best steps? No. So this would be an extreme implication. So we will reject option D. Now we are left with 3 options to eliminate one by one. Let's look at the first one. COVID-19 caused economic distress. COVID-19 caused economic distress, yes. And this passage is written in that context, yes. However, when you look at the entire passage, what is being talked about? What they are talking about is how to overcome that economic distress and how to reopen and reinvest, and India is perhaps confidence whether they are talking about weathering this COVID-19, that is how to sustain, how to endure. So they are talking about how to endure and how to overcome the economic distress. They are not, the passage, it is written in the context of economic distress. However, that is not the what is implying here. I will tell you how. If COVID-19 caused economic distress, if that is what was the implication here, the passage would be telling us how COVID-19 has affected this sector, and that sector, and some other sector, how it has wreaked havoc. That would be the kind of things that would be in the passage. But they are not talking about how COVID-19 has affected us. They are telling what are the steps that we can take and what are the steps that we have already taken to overcome it. So we will reject option A. Okay. Now we have 2 more options to assess and eliminate one of them. Okay. Providing direct cash assistance will make people spend, which will in turn lead to reopening of and reinvesting in private sector. Yes, this is a very good one, and they are telling us in 2 different places, right? If there is confidence among people to spend and among bankers to lend, private sector will spontaneously derive the confidence to reopen and reinvest. Okay, option B is very much agreeing with the passage. Option C, it is imperative. The word imperative means very important. It is imperative to rebuild confidence among various sectors to revive the country's economy. Okay, I think of these 2, option C is more appropriate. Why? Because look at this sentence. There is also a dire need to restore confidence in the financial system, which acts as vital lubricant. Here they are talking about confidence. Then, if there is confidence among people to spend and among bankers to lend, then private sector will have spontaneous derive the confidence to reopen. Confidence. So the passage is talking about confidence in financial system, confidence among people, confidence among bankers, confidence among private sectors. So it is imperative to rebuild confidence among various sectors to revive the country's economy. Option C. This is very appropriate. This option B, even though it might be one of the implications of the passage, and it may very well be agreeing with the passage, this is a less appropriate one. C is more appropriate when compared to option B. Let's read option B again. Providing direct cash assistance will make people spend, which in turn will lead to reopening of and reinvesting in private sector. Yes, they are implying that we are maybe the one of the largest democracy who have not given direct cash assistance, and we need to give direct cash assistance, and that will inject one more confidence in them. Okay, but what is the purpose of giving direct cash assistance? It is to boost their confidence. And here they are talking only about direct cash assistance, which will lead to reopening and reinvesting of private sector. However, In the passage, it is talking about confidence among people through direct cash assistance, then confidence among financial system, then confidence among bankers, and confidence among private sector. So the passage, it is more implying a confidence boosting than direct cash assistance. Direct cash assistance, yes, it is talking about it directly, explicitly, yes. However, it is talking about direct cash assistance for the purpose of boosting confidence. So what is the implication of this passage? I will mark C as my answer, because this is more appropriate when compared to this one. I told you, that is why I told you that when solving RC passages, do not think in terms of right and wrong, think in terms of more appropriate and less appropriate. So which one of the option is more appropriate? Option C is more appropriate, because the entire passage, it is talking about boosting confidence in the financial sector, among people, among bankers, then ultimately among the private sectors. So option C is the answer here. This one, it was a very tough question, I know. It was a very tough choice between option B and C. However, this much tough, the confusion between options, it will be less in your actual CSAT paper. Because we saw in the previous previous question that it was not so tough for this one. It was only so tough between these two options. Okay. Now it is time to go for your homework question, and do not worry, this one, it was really a tough choice. So if you understood this concept, you will be able to answer the next homework question. This one, it is a homework question. It was asked again in 23 paper, to tackle the problem of pollution in cities. Policymakers think that drastic actions like temporary use of odd even number scheme for vehicles, closing schools, factories, construction activities, and banning the use of certain type of vehicles are a way forward. Even then, the air is not clean. Vehicles more than 15 years old comprise 1% of the total, and taking them off the road will not make any difference. Banning certain fuels and car types arbitrarily is not proper. Diesel engines produce more PM 2.5 and less CO2 than petrol or CNG engines. On the other hand, both diesel and CNG engines produce more NOx than petrol engines. No one has measured the amount of NOx that CNG engines are emitting. Arbitrary bans on vehicles that have passed mandated fitness tests and periodic pollution tests are unfair. What is needed is the scientific and reliable information about the source of pollutants on a continuing basis, and the technologies that will work to reduce pollution from them. Which one of the following best reflects the most logical and rational implication conveyed by the passage? Look at the question. They are also asking about most logical and rational. They are not asking you which is the correct implication. They are asking you which is the most logical and rational implication. Okay. Read the options and do answer this one, and leave your answers in the comment section. We will discuss the answer to this question in the next class. Okay. Now it is time to discuss the answer for the previous classes homework question. This was your previous classes homework question. It was based on number system. What is the question? How many consecutive zeros are there at the end of the integer obtained in the product? 1 raised to 2, 2 raised to 4, 3 raised to 6, 4 raised to 8, and ultimately 25 raised to 50. Okay, what is the concept behind this question? The concept behind this question is that however number of 2 and 5 you get when you express any term in the as a product of prime factors, however number of pairs of 2 and 5 you get, that many zeros will be there at the end of that number. Okay, we will use that concept to answer this question. However, each number it is being raised to what is the pattern here? Each number it is being raised to double of itself. 1 raised to 2, 2 raised to 4, 3 raised to 6, 4 raised to 8, and 25 raised to 50. Okay, that is the pattern here. And from 1 to 25, we will find many numbers which will have a factor of 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, all the even numbers, they will have 2. However, very less number of numbers will have only 5. And we know that when a when a product, when a number, when it is expressed in the form of prime factors, it is if twos are, we need to count the number of twos and fives. If the number of 2 and 5 is same, then that many number of zeros we will have. However, if one of them is more and the other is less, we'll count that number which is less. For example, 10, it has 2, 1, 2 and 1, 5. However, 20, it has 2 twos and 1 5. So there is only 1 5 and 2 twos, so we'll count only 5, 1 5, so 1 0. Here 2 and 5 both are same, so 1 0. Okay. And how do we use this one here? So we will count only 5s here, because the number of twos, they will be more than 5s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. All of them, they will have twos. So the number of twos, there will be more. So we'll count only the number of 5s. Which number will have 5s? That would be 5, 10, 15, 20 and 25. Okay. How many 5s does 5 have? It has only 1 5. This has only 1 5. This has only 1 5. This one also, it has only for 1 5. However, 25, it has 2 5s. Okay. And 5 will be raised to 10, because each number is being raised to its double. 10 will be raised to 20, 15 would be raised to 30, 20 would be raised to 40 and 25 would be raised to 50. So here you will get 10 5s, here we will get 20 5s, here we will get 30 5s, and here we will get 40 5s, and here we will not get 50 5s, we will get 100 5s. Why? Because 5 raised to 50 and 5 raised to 50, so we will get 100 5s here. So together, how much do they make up? They will make up 200 5s. You may count all the number of 2s, they will be much more than this one. So we need to count whichever is less. So how many consecutive zeros are there at the end of the integer, this integer? The answer would be option D, 200. Okay. I hope that this class was beneficial and useful to you. If you like this class, do watch our classes regularly. We upload one episode every evening from Monday to Saturday. And do share the YouTube link to this video with your friends on WhatsApp groups and Telegram groups. I wish you all the best, and most of all, I wish you a very happy studying. I do not say this just for the sake of saying it, because being happy after passing the examination, it is easy and everybody does it. I ask you to be happy while studying. So I wish you a very, very happy studying. Thank you.